This program is brought to you by Rogers Xfinity, connecting you to more of what you love. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Hi everybody, and welcome to another edition of Living Well, Giving Well on Rogers Television, Grey County. This is episode number 13. I'm Fred Wallace along with Denise Reid, and we'll be meeting our guest in just a matter of moments. But as we always like to do on Living Well, Giving Well, we want to talk about what Denise and I are necessarily all about, and not necessarily us personally, but what Living Well, Giving Well is all about, Denise.
Yeah, I was thinking about this morning when I was getting ready. I thought, Living Well, Giving Well. I'm not sure who did the name, but I think it's perfect. We talk about living well in our community, whether it's us personally or in our community giving well, whether that's monetarily or volunteering, which is what our guest is going to give her opportunities and her experience with.
And as Denise and I talk, we talk about some financial issues, and we're really not looking for you to donate to anything that Denise and I are involved in, but rather we hope that you'll consider it with your will in terms of our sponsors and our host charities. And our host charity today is Habitat for Humanity, and so to that end, it's time to meet our first guest, and we'd like to welcome Sarah Davenport to our program from Habitat for Humanity. Thanks for joining us, Sarah.
Thanks for having me.
So volunteering, I mean, it's in part of my life, it's just a necessity. It just is what we do. Mm-hmm. Now, when I read your information, you started very young volunteering. I call it young in this day and age.
Yeah, I think kids are starting even younger now, but I was at university when I first started volunteering, probably in my early 20s. And at that time, it was more a sense of trying to figure out what I wanted to do for a career. And I remember some local agencies came to the university center and sort of set up displays and kind of walked around. And I ended up volunteering at an Alzheimer day center at St. Joe's Hospital in Guelph. And then later, probably the next year, at a youth employment programming. And both those agencies and that experience helped me decide on social work as a career, and certainly helped me develop my interpersonal and communication skills and understanding of what work is all about, and lots of great things from early volunteering. Yeah.
So now you're retired.
Yes.
And then people say, "What do you do?" Well, what do you do?
What don't you do?
I think as volunteers and as when we're retired, we do a lot. And where do you volunteer in our community?
So I volunteer with Habitat Humanity. That's Grey Bruce. That's how I got roped into this gig. And that's an organization that I have volunteered with off and on over the years. Probably shortly after I moved to Kincardine in 2000, they did a build in Inverhuron. And I went out and helped with that a few times. And then when I was still working, we would have build days through my work, and my husband's business would have build days. And when I retired, I found that the mandate and values of Habitat really suited me and what I believe in. And so I've continued volunteering with Habitat. I also am a mentor with Big Brothers Big Sisters of Bruce Huron. So I spend a couple hours a week with well, now she's 10, doing art. And then our whole family volunteers with the Kincardine Theatre Guild. And right now we're working on a production of The Pirates of Penzance.
There we go. Lots of bases to touch. Sarah Davenport is our guest, and you mentioned, or I mentioned, that our host charity this time around is Habitat for Humanity. So I want to start there, Sarah. Can you tell, or do you remember your first experiences with Habitat for Humanity, and how you got involved, and what kept you involved through the course of time?
I think the reason I particularly enjoy working with Habitat is their mission statement, that is, all people deserve to have somewhere they can call home. And I think in today's climate, especially in rural areas, there's such a demand for affordable, safe housing. While I was working as a social worker in Grey Bruce, I worked with lots of families where housing was certainly very precarious and not always a safe situation, and certainly not very affordable. And so when I retired, I really wanted to align myself with an organization that where I would feel like I was really making a difference and that matched my values and beliefs. And so that's why I volunteer with Habitat. You don't have to have any construction skills.
That was one of my.
You were smiling as you said that.
That was my thought, because I thought, would you do? Can you do that if you don't? I mean, I know I can probably hammer, but otherwise, is there guidance with that?
Absolutely. I grew up on a farm, but I had 2 brothers. So even though I saw my dad and my brothers doing lots of hands-on stuff, and I did do some of it, I certainly didn't get the immersion that my brothers did, and I wasn't overly interested, really. But the great thing about Habitat is they have an amazing staff and more experienced volunteers who are so great at delegating and teaching and taking the time to show people how to do things. So yeah, I've tried all kinds of things that I totally would never have touched before.
I was thinking about that too. Boy, I'm not very good at that, but I'm definitely strong enough. I could carry the wood or do the whatever, but to know that there's that, guidance is fine. And I think with your work, as with children and that's a great connection. And the great connection with Big Brothers Big Sisters as well. So when you're thinking of volunteering, a passion, I mean, that's got to be there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the people ask me in my retirement, what do you do? I said, well, there's so much to do, so much volunteering you can do. What do you want to do?
Yeah.
And where do you think you can connect and be the kind of biggest asset, I guess, for that group?
Yeah.
Why Habitat Humanity for you? What's the appeal or the attraction for you, Sarah?
It's I think it's mainly that I feel like I'm making a difference and that what I am doing is useful. And I think all of us want to feel like, especially when we retire, that we're contributing, that we're still valuable parts of society. And for Habitat, there's so many things about the organization that I enjoy. I really enjoy the young people, young adults who are involved on the builds. There's a number of collaborative training programs that Habitat's involved with. In the summer, they bring on about 10 high school students for, I think it's about 6 weeks, who come out to the build site and get to learn all aspects of building a house and do some other first aid training, that sort of thing, get some hands-on experience. And it's great to see these kids develop and Yeah. Well, when you look at that, you said it was in university that you connected. Well, these are high school students that they could connect and say, hey, where do I want to go in my future? Where is this a passion for me? Is this the direction I want to go? Which I think is great. And volunteering, everybody's busy, and in households these days, mom and dad are working, and that volunteering is sometimes a hard thing to be able to have time for. And I think that if we nurture that when the kids are younger, then maybe that just becomes natural as they get older. And I think it is starting younger. Our daughter was volunteering before she even started high school, and she and her friends had some different little projects they would do, and then that just continues to grow. So if we can role model that for the young people, it will continue to develop that sense of giving back to the community. and developing programs. So many not-for-profit organizations rely completely on volunteers to do the work that they do. Funding is tight, everyone's vying for the same funding dollars. So volunteering is, it's a backbone to the community, just as safe and affordable housing is, which is a key reason why I'm with Habitat for sure.
This is Living Well, Giving Well on Rogers Television, Grey County. Our guest is Sarah Davenport. We're talking about Habitat for Humanity. Habitat for Humanity is our host charity today. You mentioned the programs for the youth. How does a youngster or the parent of a youngster get a youngster involved in those particular programs, be it the Aspire program or the Skills program?
I believe all the information's on the website for Habitat Grey Bruce. The skills program is through the boards of education, and that just finished. That was forget how many weeks. And the kids actually, it's high school students, and they spend a day for 6 weeks on the build site and end up with high school credit and a credit with Fanshawe College. So it's really a great way to figure out if construction or electrician, that sort of thing, is where they want to head. So that would be through school. I think the Aspire program is advertised through the schools as well.
But they're great programs for youngsters, right?
Absolutely, and as long as they're 16 years of age, they can volunteer. Yeah.
Well, it's great through, if it's through the Board of Education and that combination, they're helping to encourage or develop or...
I helped build a house and got a credit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And maybe there's somebody that didn't know how to do much more than hammer and nail either. I'm not exactly sure. But is there one memory, like that stands out for you when it comes to volunteering? I mean, you must have a ton, but is there something that stands out that you can think of?
I think I'm having a gap right now, but the day that we hand over the keys to the families.
Okay.
So last year my husband and I attended the ceremony where we do that on Saugeen First Nation. And I believe there were five homes at that time. And the families each get up and receive their sort of honorary key and talk about the benefits of having a home. And this particular home where I should make a note, the families play a key part in building the home. They put in volunteer hours, sweat equity, they pick the colors, they pick the brick on the outside, they are very involved in building the homes. So these are their homes. They're not built for them and given to them, and they pay a mortgage on the home. So going to that key ceremony was fabulous. And then we walked through the homes, which I had seen many times, but this time there were kids running through the house showing me their bedroom, and so excited, and families so happy.
Yeah, I'm getting a warm feeling there.
It's,
right? Like, because it's not a house. It was a house.
Yeah,
and
it's
now
a home.
it's their home.
Yeah.
And I just think, I'm just getting a warm fuzzy there. That's amazing. And I think when you're invested in, they get to pick all the, what they want. There's that. And then, so you as a volunteer is getting that feeling of, wow, look what I did, or look what I helped to do.
Yes.
With all the hands that are involved, and how amazing that feeling is.
We're going to take a break. Our video segment today, we were going to show a video from Bright Shores Health Services. They're one of our partners on Living Well, Giving Well, and then we'll be back with more. We'll be talking about Habitat for Humanity with Sarah Davenport, and also about Big Brothers. You're watching Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Grey Bruce. You're watching Living Well, Giving Well on Rogers Television, Grey County.
Hi, I am Amy McKinnon. I'm the CEO of the Bright Shores Health System Owen Sound Foundation. Bright Shores Health System Owen Sound Foundation supports the purchase of new and upgraded medical equipment, facility redevelopment, and staff training and education. Your support and investment in local healthcare not only ensures our physicians, nurses, and frontline workers have the tools they need to provide your care, but all staff across all departments. The impact is felt everywhere. you would be amazed. Having specialized equipment can result in being able to have specialized care right here in our community where your support system is, and that can really mean a lot when you're facing a medical issue. I'm so grateful for donor support. We are able to buy items such as more comfortable chairs for patients having chemotherapy or dialysis, simulation mannequins for staff to practice scenarios so they are confident and prepared, new medical imaging equipment such as ultrasounds and x-rays offering improved images, and new lab equipment for faster diagnosis and more accurate treatment. You're really making a big impact. The Owen Sound Hospital also offers regional services for patients right across Grey and Bruce, including oncology, MRIs, and knee and hip replacement surgeries, all made possible by caring donors. We also raise funds for the Wellness and Recovery Center, focusing on a groundbreaking recovery model for people with addiction, and the Research and Innovation Institute, focusing on improving healthcare outcomes in rural communities. With your support, these programs are expanded. Please support local healthcare by making a donation to the Bright Shores Owen Sound Foundation today.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Living Well, Giving Well on Rogers Television, Grey County. I'm Fred Wallace, along with Denise Reid, and our guest today is Sarah Davenport. Sarah is with Habitat for Humanity. And before we get back to Habitat for Humanity, we just saw a video from Bright Shores, and I want to do a shout out today to Katie Ferguson and the leadership class at Owen Sound District Secondary School. We just went through a process here in Owen Sound called Hockey Fest, and one of the events was the East-West Challenge between the two high schools. And Katie Ferguson's leadership class did a puck toss, and all the proceeds from the puck toss went to the pediatrics unit at Bright Shores Hospital. So again, to Katie and to everybody involved, it's just another example of giving well in our community, Denise.
Well, and there's a high school teacher, you know, working with her kids and showing them what can be done, how you can help, where the money can go, and there's an infinite amount of spots where you can give your money and your time. And we've been talking about Habitat Grey Bruce, and we just touched a little bit on it, but if you want to join, if you want to be a part of it, you want to find out about it, where do we go?
The website for Habitat Grey Bruce. And if you want to volunteer, there's a little blue hammer, and that will send you to the registration process.
Because to build the houses, like, I mean, so are we talking, you know, June, July, and August? Or is there a set time on that? That, like, let's say a volunteer, a high school students would want to do or something, or you can say, hey, I want to be there for the full year, or?
It's any time.
Okay.
My husband, for example, his work, they do a build once a year. So he and his friends and coworkers put in a 7-hour day once a year. I go up a couple of times a month and a volunteer for a day. So it varies. It can be as little or as much. We have other volunteers who are there every day. Yeah.
So you know, you also Big Brothers Big Sisters, and you said you're a mentor with that. So can you cross over on that? Can you bring your little sister over to the Habitat?
Yeah, like maybe when young people have to be
10.
16.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes,
Sure.
that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be a great thing for folks to do, to bring a little brother, a little sister when they're older. Yeah.
Great form of mentoring.
Yeah.
I'm curious about the demographic for a build, for an average build with Habitat for Humanity. Is it retired people? Is it working professionals that find time? Is it youngsters?
It's so we have a number of volunteers who are retired and are at the build site regularly, and then other days are what we call team build days. So those are businesses or organizations that put together a team of people and register with Lisa. And
Lisa, who's hiding in the background.
Lisa Campbell, and they come up for what we call team days. And that can be as many as 10 people, and sometimes, depending on what we're working on, it could be 40 people. And and many of whom have no construction skills. And they are divvied up and given tasks with each of the staff people or other more experienced volunteers to work on. And so the age group can be, early 20s up until 50s, the working age. And a lot of those people, well, I know from my own experience when I was working and we would do teen days, talk about that being like one of the best days they've had. Because they feel so accomplished and a sense of purpose by the end of their day.
Yeah. Well, how good is it to, feel to volunteer and give? I mean, so is that how do you feel? Like, how would you say to somebody, oh, you really should get into the volunteering or, whatever? What would you say to somebody that's, saying, not sure what I'm going to do? That's kind of a big question, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Like there's so many benefits from volunteering, and we've touched on the sense of purpose, but that leads into positive mental health. For me, it's a real hit of dopamine, and feeling that sense of well-being, that you're giving back, making a difference. It's also part of being part of a community. You're spending a day on a build site with people with similar values and beliefs and wanting to be there. And that's a great way to get to know people and meet people. And like we talked about before, it's a great way to develop skills. As for example, if you wanted to learn how to build a house or renovate your home, you could come up to Habitat and learn how to use a skill saw and nail gun.
I have to say, because my husband, he's not a real handyman either. So you
These
can,
hands were made for the media. So,
you can.
I'd need some supervision, but that's great. Is there a leader on each Habitat for Humanity? Is there?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. So at the beginning of the build day, it's all very structured. Folks meet between 8:30 and 9 at the build site. And the volunteer coordinator sort of gives an overview, focusing on safety and what the day will look like. And then the construction manager, Matt Bryant, talks to folks about what we're working on, tells people what some of the different jobs that day might be. Like, we're framing walls, we're working on the roof, we're painting. And then whoever's there kind of, I think I'd like to try that, or I'd like to do some painting, and then there are staff, carpentry apprentice, electrical apprentice, other staff members who partner off with the groups of people to work on the tasks for that day.
And there was a note that I saw, Sarah, that talked about women in carpentry, or carpentry for women. Yeah. Can we expand on that program?
That's a program that has been going for a number of years, and it's all women who do an orientation to the carpentry industry. And we have several that work with Habitat that have been hired on after starting off doing work experience with Habitat. And for me, it's wonderful to see young women in non-traditional roles and thriving at it, doing such a great job.
I think that what I liked it when you say, because, Fred and I volunteer in lots of different aspects, and being able to give what time you have or whenever you can, I think that that's a key too, because even though working people, like when you're working, certainly there's only amount of time. But even as retired people, we only sometimes have a matter of time. And being able to say, okay, I'm going to go to Habitat and I've got, 2 hours a week, or I've got 2 hours to mentor my little sister for whatever. It's being able to go and give and do and get that reward, but kind of, I don't know if you say it your own kind of sketch.
Pace.
Yes, your own pace. Oh, I like that. Your own pace. Yeah, exactly, right. Yeah, I think that that's important. And I think that we need to keep encouraging our retired generation here. Well, you're semi-retired, Fred, so you're getting there. But to encourage volunteerism, and once again to find what are you passionate about, and what would Because when you're fulfilled and you just give more. Mm-hmm. And then I think that kind of, you feel it. Like you get it back too, right? Yeah. So that's what I think.
Sarah, I wanted to ask maybe a personal question. How good has the volunteer aspect been for your family and your family life, and in terms of doing things together and being part of projects, programs, organizations?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's, we have, my husband and I have one daughter, and when I was thinking about my volunteering journey, started in university, it's always been something that we've done as a family. So early on, it was Lions Club, Rotary. I have pictures of my daughter helping my husband serve the Christmas dinner for Lions, or doing the road cleanup, that sort of thing. So it's always something that we've done as a family. Kincardine Theatre Guild is another organization that we've all participated in over the years, and our daughter sort of grew up in that community as well. And then Habitat has turned into that as well, because when we do our family build days, our daughter's a big part of that, and she has come with me on other build days, just when I'm volunteering, and she's had been available when she was in university. She's joined me, and that's been great. Yeah.
Well, it's a great way to have, if you want to call it, family time. Yeah. And to work together to achieve a common goal. Wow, that's great.
Yeah, and it's a great way for, I know parents are busy. It was a busy time for us when our daughter was in school and we were both working full time, but even volunteering for an hour at your child's school, it's a great way to get to know the school, get to know the kids, and it's great for your child to see you participating.
Yeah. Well, that's a great example.
Sports too are another example.
Things have really motored on us here, Sarah. I hope this has been an enjoyable half hour for you, joining Denise and I. Final thoughts on Habitat for Humanity, and maybe on a greater level, the value of volunteering that you see and others should see.
I think volunteering is so important, and it's a win-win for me as a volunteer and for the organizations that I volunteer for. I get so much out of it and so much of a sense of well-being, but it's also really how a lot of not-for-profit organizations get their work done. And especially as we move into the Christmas season, I think people can, if they're interested in volunteering even just for a couple of hours, they can check online, see what organizations need some help, food bank or whatever. There's so many options.
That's what we're all about. Willpower.ca, living well, giving well. Sarah, thank you so much for joining us and for telling us about Habitat for Humanity and the thrill and the benefits of volunteering. Coming up, we've got the G-Man Cares Foundation and the Community Foundation. Grey Bruce will be our guest on the next program. We'll be talking with Christy and Todd Webster, and also Stuart Reid will be joining us from Community Foundation Grey Bruce. For Denise Reid, I'm Fred Wallace. Thanks for joining us today on Living Well, Giving Well with Rogers Television, Grey County.
Connect with us by visiting our website or email us at comments@rogerstv.com.
You're watching an interesting local show on Rogers TV and you want to know more. That's when you head to rogerstv.com. Our website provides more information about our programs, our hosts, our schedule, and about how you too can get involved with Rogers TV. Visit us online at rogerstv.com.
When I decided to go back to university, the Children's Aid Foundation of Canada supported me the whole way through. Having been in foster care for so long, and seeing how the system can be firsthand, I truly believe that if I weren't to have those support systems, I wouldn't have been able to further my education. Education makes every child unstoppable.